Ever since I can remember, I've always dreamt of being a mom. I always thought I would have lots of kids, big family, have them close in age so that the siblings would be super close. And even as a kid, anytime I went to the toy store and got to pick a toy, I would choose a baby doll every single time. So after me and my husband were married for a little over a year, we were blessed with our daughter Noble with very little complications. She is the most beautiful thing in our life. Even having her was a magical experience, and I couldn't wait to do it again. So when Noble turned a year old, a couple months after that, we found out we were pregnant with our second child. And we were so excited, a little terrified at how close the age difference was, but we couldn't wait to go to the first ultrasound and see our baby. They set me up and we started looking at the screen, expecting to see a baby, a heartbeat, and instead we got the biggest shock of our life. There was no baby, no heartbeat, just an empty gestational sac. And me and my husband didn't really know how to even process that. There were no warning signs. As far as we knew, we had another healthy pregnancy and we're very expectant. And right after that appointment, I think we were both just in shock, sitting in the car together, and just began to sob, literally not knowing what else to do. I had only known a couple women in my life that had experienced miscarriage themselves or dealt with infertility, but I still didn't know who to go to or what to really expect once the process began. My family and I took a trip to a farmer's market, trying to get our minds off of it. And it was there that my body started to go through the process of the miscarriage, and I began to lose a lot of blood. I wasn't sure how much blood you lost when it was over, how you knew if you passed everything. But the next day, everything began to grow even more intense, and I started cramping and bleeding once again all throughout the day. My husband had to come home from work because I was in so much pain to help take care of our daughter. When my husband came home, I was in the bathroom in a lot of pain, trying to just walk around, trying to ease the pain a little bit. I decided to wash my hands, and next thing I knew, I woke up on the bathroom floor with my husband over me, shaking me, not really remembering anything that happened. And it turned out I had passed out not once, but 3 times. The next thing I remember is being rushed into an ambulance, being carried out of our house and drove to the hospital, my whole body shaking because I had lost so much blood. Once we arrived at the hospital, they got my body a little more stabilized, and I thought I would have passed everything, but turned out I still needed surgery, and it was just a whole process of just wondering, God, when will this ever end? Not only was I losing my child, but I was just ready for the whole process to be over. We really found that we had so many people around us that had walked through the same process and were able to encourage us and lift us up and pray over us. And we really felt encouraged and hopeful towards the future. Of course, letting my body heal, giving it time, but hopeful to have more children in the future. After taking some time to rest and just heal my body, we found out we were pregnant once again for a 3rd time, and we're really hopeful. We were like, okay, God, you promised this child, surely you won't make us walk through anything like that again. One night when my husband was putting our daughter to bed, I had gone to the bathroom and noticed a little bit of blood. And of course, my heart just sank, thinking the worst, that here we are again, miscarrying. But then I also thought, okay, maybe it could be something else. Just trying to hold on to hope that this wouldn't end up like the first time. And really, the only thing we could do was go to the emergency room at the time. So me and my husband sat there for hours. After hours of sitting in the emergency room, they finally called me back, gave me an ultrasound. I was hoping I'd be able to see the screen, just get a glimpse of everything, but unfortunately they aren't allowed to let you see the screen, so I was just left wondering. They sent me back out to the lobby without really saying anything. One of the doctors called us into a room, shut the door, and it felt just like a movie when he gave us the news that our baby had died, and my body was once again going through the process of a second miscarriage. Whew, this is the hard part. I just remember feeling like nothing in that moment was real. And like, this couldn't be reality because I had already given up one child and had to deal with the loss of that. And now here I was again in the same position. Once again, my body literally holding death, and not really knowing how to process that. And I just remember being really, really angry with God. And like everything I had ever been taught through my faith had just gone out the window because I had served God. I've been faithful. I had done what he had asked, not perfectly, but I didn't know how me and my husband could have deserved to have to walk through this whole experience a second time. In that season, I just remember going into a deep, deep depression. There are a lot of days I wished I didn't wake up, and it was just my daughter and my husband that really kept me going. I honestly didn't know how to even turn to God. You know, people said, oh, God's still good and you can still trust him, but my heart had a little bit of trouble believing how he could be good. I think going through such brokenness helped me reestablish who God is in a real way. I remember kind of obsessing over getting pregnant after that point, not really thinking about letting my body heal, but just kind of willing it to happen on my own. Every pregnancy announcement I saw on social media would trigger me. I was invited to baby showers and made me feel a type of way, you know, and really just asking God a lot of questions of like, why did I have to lose my children? And then I remember one day I was feeling bad for myself and just having a tougher day, and my husband asked me the question, if we had a baby tomorrow, would it fix everything? And I remember realizing that having a baby wasn't what God was getting at. It was in that moment that I realized that being a mom had become an idol in my life. And I remember reading a quote that said, anything that I think I need in order for God to be good is my golden calf, and that's what my heart longs to worship. So then I realized that in order for God to be good in my mind and in my heart, I had to be a mom. And I remember asking God, like, why don't you want me to produce something so good for you? Like, why wouldn't you want me to produce? And I remember being really humbled when he said, I don't want what you can produce for me, I just want you. And I think that was the first time at 30 years old that I could actually recognize the love of the Father. In my most broken state, in my greatest suffering, God literally used it to show me how I can love him and be loved by him. And I just remember sitting there watching Noble play and asking God, like, I just wish I could see them. A few moments later, I was looking off into the distance and my eyes were fully open, and God literally gave me a vision of a field full of beautiful flowers, and I saw our two sons running and playing, and they were just so happy. And God told me in that moment that they're free and they're held. I'm so thankful for a safe place in my small group full of women that I could share these thoughts with and not be shamed or afraid to admit my true feelings, because I feel like that's what really allowed me to see where I was actually at so God could work in my heart. God even challenged me in this current season to not just wallow and sit and be the victim or sit in my sadness or my pain, but to celebrate with those that are pregnant and go to the baby shower and celebrate those that have what I so badly want. A couple weeks ago, I felt led to take a test randomly. Didn't have many pregnancy symptoms, but just felt like I needed to take a test. So we're really excited, a little bit scared to announce that we are pregnant. I'm actually 6 weeks pregnant when you're watching this. And a lot of people would think that's a little too early to announce or would be a little cautious, but If loss has taught us anything, it's that we'd have to find joy in the present moment while we have it. So we really just want community around us, praying with us, trusting with us that God's going to fulfill his promise.